Hey y'all, so this week I decided, since I'm always getting questions about how LA is versus Milwaukee and vice versa and how they compare, I decided I was going to bring you this week a video of Cali versus Wisconsin, or more specifically LA versus Milwaukee. Now, the first thing I noticed is that Milwaukee is closed-minded as fuck. I mean, the example I always like to use is that if I go to hang out with some homies over in Milwaukee and I show up with some black nail polish on my fingers, people will kind of look at me like, bro, what is? They clown me and say, that's gay as fuck, bro, you gay. And out here in LA, I could walk by the street in a nipple shirt and people will walk past me, unfazed, without so much as a second glance. Milwaukee is definitely has got its own culture too, but just the open-mindedness out here and the reception to just who you are is nice and it's refreshing. And it's not all bad. Milwaukee and LA do have similarities too. The main one, the one I thought I would touch on is the music scene here. It's actually almost identical. I mean, you have the boom bap sound, you have the trap rap sound, not as much, but it's still there. They definitely got their own West Coast style out here, which is kind of cool to experience. The main thing is that there's a lot of dope people in both networks or in both scenes. I mean, I met the homie Fat Matt, Ellis, Owen, like all these dope people that are working towards the same things we are. So that's cool. Now, I'd like to take a second and talk about something that's kind of a personal kind of touchy point for me. One of the main things I noticed about Milwaukee and LA is the difference and similarities between the cops. As far as cops go, I'd say Milwaukee's definitely more fucked up than LA so far. In Milwaukee, I've so far been pulled out of my car twice illegally. First time, the cop just opened up the door, decided to pull me out because it was a traffic stop. Second time, because that happened, I asked. Second time I got pulled, why I was being asked to step out of the car. Cop looks at me like, how dare you? Like, who are you to ask that? Reaches into my window, unlocks my car door, then pulls me out and proceeds to question and search me. So both times I was never told why I was pulled over, and they just proceeded to do whatever they want. Besides that, all the multiple times that I was profiled rolling around with my girlfriend because I'm a white boy in Milwaukee, in the north side of Milwaukee, and she's black. Out here in LA, I've only been stopped once. It wasn't the most it wasn't the most pleasant. It was fine. It wasn't too bad, but the main thing is my first experience with the cops out here though was what really opened my eyes. Is we were rapping on Venice Beach at like night. It was closing down, and we were rapping on these speakers. And it was loud, and people were smoking weed, but the cops, they just approached us, didn't get all accusatory or just like, dicks. And they just asked us to politely move along and even explain, like, you can come back. Like, just a very professional, and just, like, they cared almost, And I've never been more at ease with cops than I have out here in LA. It's definitely a noticeable difference versus being pulled out of your car and having your hand stuck up your ass because they think you have drugs or weapons on you. I've noticed that in LA there's a lot more militarization of the police. I mean, I just was walking at the subway today and they had M16s with bulletproof vests on in the subways, and surveillance cameras set up outside at the subway station. So that's different too. It's different. It's definitely a different feel. So overall, both have their pros and cons. I mean, I definitely feel like going in LA, you're going to see a lot more human shit on the ground than you would walking down the street in Milwaukee. But you also would come across and play more racist people in Wisconsin, closed-mindedness. Ultimately, you have to move to experience it for yourself. Moving here, it made me realize how much I appreciate and how much I value what we do have in Milwaukee now. It's really kind of cast on a different light. I mean, for all the closed-mindedness that you'll get in Milwaukee, you'll actually find a genuineness and an integrity to the people there too. There's this realness. And for all the open-mindedness out here in LA, there's actually kind of a disconnect. I mean, people will shuffle along and walk upstairs, bump into each other without so much as saying a word or eye contact. It's weird. It's weird when you get on the bus and people are just like going shoulder to shoulder and they won't even look at each other and say, "Oh, go ahead, after you." So to wrap it up, LA is definitely a place where, for as much bad, there's just as much, if not more, good. I mean, I've definitely run into a lot of love out here, and a lot of people that they're actually willing to help you out and cut you a break. At the same time, I will say it's It's kind of crazy how many people have done drugs out here. It's kind of insane, actually. How many people have been like, yeah, I've done coke, smoked crack, or done meth before. It's crazy. I definitely feel both places have their strong suits and their weaknesses that count. So thank you again, guys, for checking me out this week. I appreciate the love. You can always, again, find me on Facebook, Twitter, at BlanQ the MC. Make sure you subscribe, and make sure you leave some feedback on what you want to hear. I'm interested to hear what you guys want me to talk about. So until next time, guys, I appreciate the love again. God bless.